I don't feel the weight of it anymore. But it was parents who said, you represent, Black folks. So you've got
Absolutely.
to, you know what I mean? So
That's
like,
real.
oh, I represent a whole throng of people.
That burden of representation is real, brother. It is. Hello and welcome to the New Conversation. I'm Dwight McBride, president of the New School, and we are so grateful to have you join us for this series where I converse with thinkers and creators and doers about the critical issues of our time. My guest today is Colman Domingo, a gifted actor, writer, and friend. He's been making waves on stage and on screen for over 30 years, but especially this year, starring in not one but two groundbreaking films led by other Black creatives, Candyman and Zola. I've been really looking forward to this conversation. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Colman.
President McBride, my friend Dwight, I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
But I want to just dive in with Bottomless Brunch at Colman's.
Oh, wonderful.
I am a fan. I mean, first of all, I love where it comes from. I love that it grew out of this crazy time that we're all living through. And it kind of mirrors what we were trying to do with this, the New Conversation. We were trying to engage people in our communities in ways that it wasn't possible to do otherwise, right? Because we were all locked down. And so just tell me a little bit about your inspiration for it and sort of where it's gone and where people can see it.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much, because it's one of the things that is nearest and dearest to my heart right now, because it was born out of the need to create something, a platform to bring people together. And that's the sole reason. And it was about going through my list of creatives that I believe are interesting. And I wanted them to virtually come to my house for brunch, because I thought brunch in particular, I thought, who doesn't like brunch? No one says, I hate brunch. I've never heard anyone ever say they hate brunch. Right?
That's true.
Brunch is all good things. It's sunshine, it's daylight, it's with friends, it's to chill out and unpack the week. And people get to their most real selves, I believe. So I created this show. On Zooms, everyone is like, we don't know what anyone's wearing under here. I have no idea what you're wearing. You look wonderful in that suit and turtleneck, but you could just be wearing, boxers. Who knows? So we wanted to lean into the at-home vibe of it and send people a virtual cocktail, a cocktail kit, and then really just have a conversation. It's a little fun, but then it gets deep and meaningful, and then we have a game, and then we're out. But it's also like the idea of like these people that I know that I think are fascinating to me, and I want people to know them the way I know them. And it's not a sit-down talk show where people are promoting anything.
Yeah.
All you're promoting is thought, creativity, mind, something heartful, and that's it. So
authentic humanity comes through in all. I mean, that's the thing I love about watching these. They're not. It's not like seeing someone on a talk show. It's like they're in your home, and the three of you or the four of you or whatever are just having a nice time together, right?
That's exactly it.
And we get to kind of be a part of that, sort of fly on the wall. It's really quite brilliant. It's really amazing. And I recommend it to everyone out there to take a look at it. Listen, when you, this is a question I ask everyone who sits in this chair. You're an amazing actor and performer. I've been following your work since early days of some of the theater work that you've done, incredible theater work that you've done, and that I know, candidly, I don't think people talk about enough and appreciate enough. And it's just been remarkable watching your career, especially in these last 3 years, just kind of explode, right? And to my mind, finally getting the recognition that the talent deserves. So I'm pleased as punch for all kinds of reasons. There's a sense of pride in it that I take as well. But tell me about how you got your start as an actor, and when did you first know that was what you were going to be doing in this world? And was there ever a time that you thought you might be doing something other than being an actor?
I did. I think, to be honest, I grew up in West Philadelphia, which is, working class Black folks.
Mhm.
And my trajectory when I was a kid was to go to college, get an education, sort of do a little better than your parents in some way. And so it was focused on my studies and, academia. And I decided I went to Temple University and I was studying journalism. And I thought that's where my talents lied because I was always writing, creatively. And then I took an acting class as an elective. And I took it because there was a few influences, but I was a very shy kid. I was very shy.
It's hard to imagine that.
Yeah, I know it's pretty well. Everybody says that. I'm a reformed shy person. So, but it's like my mother would say that you're such a sense of humor and creative at home, but when you're outside, I was incredibly shy. I was because there was a few things. I had a lisp. I wore my brother and sister's hand-me-downs. I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
So when I got to college, I saw that there was, all the classes you could take as an elective. And I was like, let me try an acting class. I don't know why. It just felt like something, because I went, go over things with my mother, and she would say, well, what about that? That would sort of get you out of your shell. Wouldn't that be fun? So do something that's for fun. So I was like, okay, great. So I took that class, and my teacher, he said, he pulled me and this one girl aside one day, and he said, have you guys thought about this as your major? And I don't know. Like, I don't know what being an actor is. I don't know how those people do that. And I thought he took me down a road. He said, I believe that this is a gift that you have in this space. And it was the first time it's again, teachers, as we know, we're at the new school.
I was just about to
have so much influence on a young person's mind. And that changed my whole trajectory. He said, I'd be interested in seeing what would happen if you followed this path. And it's like he spoke something to my soul where I thought, oh, this feels good. I don't know where this will go. There were no steps laid out in front of me saying, oh, this is the way you're going to do it. And I always tell my students when I teach that your path is going to be your path. It's, everyone wants to, sit in a class that if I lecture or teach a class, and they want to know, how do I get from where I'm sitting to where you are, Mr. Domingo?
Yeah.
I'm like, you're going to have to figure that out, and it's going to be your own way. So it's sort of acting, I believe, in this creative space that I'm in, sort of chose me. It told me that I had purpose in it, and I had a gift, I had something to share. I didn't know how I would do it or manage it. It was just one step in front of the other. I never had, and also just to frame it, because I know we have a lot of students out there watching as well, is that there was never something that I had never had an aspiration to be on Broadway or do film or TV. I wanted to act. I think it's a tremendous responsibility. What I represent, how I represent, and how I do it. And I think it goes back to my origins of coming from inner city West Philadelphia, and parents who believe that you represent. I mean, I don't feel the weight of it anymore, but it was parents who said you represent Black folks. So
absolutely.
That's real. I represent a whole throng of people.
That burden of representation is real, brother. It is. It's a real thing. Whether it's fair or not, it's real. Right.
Right.
Listen, I love what you said about the teacher who intervened in that way, and for all the reasons that you know well. And I just want to remind all of us, the people listening out there, the power of mentoring and teaching, and what incredible influence you can have just by encouraging someone in that way. I mean, it means everything. My life literally changed from working with Toni Morrison as her research assistant, as an undergraduate, when she said to me, Dwight, you're a wonderful student, but you have yet to learn to take your intellect seriously.
Wow.
Now, when Toni Morrison
I want to know. So, what happened when you heard that for you?
When she said that, everything. I didn't. And again, to your point, I didn't know what that actually meant at the time. But that Toni Morrison was saying it to me, I was on the road to figuring it out, right? About what it was that she saw in me that I hadn't yet fully realized.
Yeah.
And it was so powerful and so important because I was on my way to law school. As far as I knew, I wanted to be a corporate lawyer. So I thought, and that literally shifted my life. And the reason that I went into the academy had to do with the process of that year and a half of working with her and another very important advisor to me as an undergraduate who took an interest, who leaned in and encouraged me. Was it was all the difference in the world. It's why I'm sitting here having this conversation with you today in this role. I want to ask you, I mean, as I said, you've been at this for a long time. And most recently in the last few years, you've been in interviews with the New York Times, you've been in GQ, you've been in New York Magazine, you've been in the Hollywood Reporter. You're everywhere. You're even, I was reading my little guilty pleasure, my Architectural Digest, and I come across a little piece that mentions Colman Domingo and a picture of your house because of a piece of furniture you have by this famous designer. I mean, how have you experienced this moment in your career in its incredible totality? I mean, what has that meant to you? What has that experience been like?
It's been such a long journey as an artist, and for artists that are attached to the creativity of it, a lot of times you go without for so long because you make choices that are about the work and about. I don't know where I get this from because I felt like I almost couldn't. I'm going to make an addendum to this statement, okay? But I almost feel like I made choices in my life that I almost couldn't afford. But now I know that it was all an investment. You know what I mean? So I made choices as someone like I would make choices to not take some job because it didn't agree with my soul, or it didn't, even if it was going to give me some financial stability or whatever. I'm like, what am I doing? Or how am I doing it? Or I'm like, I don't even want to be considered for that. I'm cool. I had to trust that and invest in and follow my lane. And so after, for a long time, Dwight, I think people knew me in different platforms, whether people know me from the theater, as a musical theater artist, or someone who does plays or Shakespeare or this or Shapeshift, or, I do sketch comedy, I'm a singer, I'm a dancer, I'm an actor. And it was hard to put me in a box and contain that. And so people almost didn't know how to frame it for a long time. But I kept, going in my direction and doing all the things that I do. And now suddenly it's like all the seeds that I've planted and all the things that I've been doing are flowering everywhere. It feels, I'll be very honest, the way it feels extraordinary right now. I'm doing things that I'm so proud of, and that I feel like it's making a difference. I think that it's making a tremendous impact. It's all the things I wanted when I started out as an actor. I'm like, I wanted to be, I didn't really want to be famous. I wanted to be respected. At some point, at some point, you can't help but be famous because of what you're doing, and so but I love the fact that it happened to me much later in my career. Like, I love that people are discovering me still. I'm a discovery, which is hilarious to me. Like wait a minute, they're putting links together. Like, that guy from Euphoria is the same guy from Beale Street the Talk, and the same guy from and they're going back and they're like, wait a minute, we didn't know.
The body of work.
Yes, they didn't know the body of work, because I think a lot of times we can't see people that look like me as a Philip Seymour Hoffman or a Dustin Hoffman or these character actors that, the Christian Bales. And I've always was akin to that. I'm not just Colman when I show up and everything. I'm a deep craftsman. And then I'm a thinker. I'm a director and a writer and weirdo and, an art aficionado, you know what I mean? So, so I think people finally get it, that I'm sort of in my own lane,
Yeah. Well, I want to pick up on two threads of what you just said. One is around this issue of not being in a box, because I think that really, if there's a performer, an actor, creative who's not in a box, is your point. I mean, you write, you direct, you perform, all of it, and you have played the villain, you've played the generous soul, you played priests, you played, and everything in between, right? As an openly Black gay male actor, in many ways, you have smashed the box. Like, a lot of what people thought well, this is what you can do if you're this person.
If you do this, yes.
You can do this thing, right? You have smashed that in so many remarkable ways through so many remarkable roles where you've played the leading man, you've played the character actor, you've done it all. So, tell me about, has that moment been meaningful to you? How do you understand what's made that possible for you in a way that hasn't always been possible for gay actors who have come before you?
It was maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. I went to speak at University of Wisconsin, Madison, for the Office of Multicultural Affairs Initiative. And I spoke to some students, and one student raised their hand and they said, Mr. Domingo, do you realize and recognize that you're doing something that hasn't been done before? And I was like, well, what is that? They're like, that you are not seen as, there's no limits on your abilities, especially being a Black queer man from inner city Philadelphia, that you're not limited by that. And the industry sees that as well. And I was like, oh, I didn't see it. I didn't see it because I've just been working. I keep going. And then I realized, I'm like, whoa, okay, I get it. I am not just seen as a Black gay male in this industry. My wives have been Regina King, Gabrielle Union. I'm always looked at in many different ways, and being full with who I am.
Yeah.
And I've always, I remember someone asked me, an interview asked me the weirdest question. I've worked with Spike Lee 3 different times, and Spike Lee is like a brother to me. And someone said, it's such an archaic question to me, but now I understand in context with this conversation as well. They said, well, how does Spike Lee feel about you being gay? It was a question I didn't understand. I was like, well, what does that mean? That he's my friend?
Yeah.
We work together, we care about each other and each other's families. So I guess that's your answer. But as I unpacked it, I was like, oh, they think it's still a world where you have to conceal all that you are to actually work. And I never believed that. I thought I've always been out in my career. There was never a coming out story.
Yeah.
There was nothing anybody could ever, get me with. I was like, no, I still, but generally I lead this way always on any set or any relationship. I talk about myself. I'm not someone who's just like my husband, my best, and I don't give out all my personal, and I wouldn't do that if I was straight too. Because I'm like, I lead with my business acumen and being a professional and talking about the work. And as you get to know me, you'll know more. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm not hiding anything. But I'm also not leading with an agenda of only, for me, that limits everything that I do if I'm only leading with the agenda of being Black and queer. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think it's the way the industry also sees me as well, is that someone who has not put limits on himself, and he can be anything that he wants to be. And I think I've been received that way.
It really is unusual and inspiring, because I think it really gives hope, not only for people like us, but I think it also just gives hope that the industry could be different, right?
I agree.
In recognizing talent. And it really is inspiring what you're doing
Thank you so
a number of levels.
And you know what, Dwight, I think, and someone asked me this, they said, do you ever think you've lost some opportunities because you're openly gay? And I said, and my answer has been, well, I've been working consistently and creating for myself as well. So I wouldn't recognize if I had lost, because I'm looking at, I'm constantly working in conversations, and I don't think that anyone I think things have changed, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But I think there's some archaic thinking behind a lot of people as well, on both sides.
Yeah.
On how they, I just always believe it's like, I feel like I'm such an ordinary gay. Do I think I'm fabulous? I don't know if I'm fabulous. I think I sort of buck a lot of tropes.
I
can be fabulous.
So let me clear that up. I think I met with the Fabulous Committee last night. You are fabulous. Okay. You are fabulous. Okay. So let's just clear that up. Listen, just a few other things I want to make sure we cover today. One of them is, I mean, speaking of the different roles you played, is there one that you really just have loved? Is there a favorite? Is there a favorite type that you have? Do you like playing a villain more than you like playing a generous soul? What is? I mean, what is there?
I
Is there
like both because they bring out such unique things in me.
Mhm.
Like I loved living in the space of Joseph Rivers and If Beale Street Could Talk. I love living in that language of Baldwin's and these relationships of Black families that I think that you don't usually see that are not tropey.
Yeah.
And then I also love of recent, I love my character X in Zola. Because I'm such a staunch feminist, I thought it was interesting to go to the dark side and looking at the trafficking of women and looking at the psychology of it, and then looking at what. So for me, it's like villains are even more interesting as well because I'm able to dissect and figure out because I have to figure out how to love them to play them, which is an extraordinary challenge when you know so much about what they do and it goes against everything that you stand for.
And I see why both are appealing, right? Because to your point, finding the humanity in a villainous character that's a challenge, but there is humanity there, right? And in order to you have to find
you find what makes them why they hurt or what they want. Like if people who've watched Zola, the thing that I keyed in on once I knew about this horrific villain was that he's also an immigrant. And I thought, in my perspective, I'm like, I'm going to make it an immigrant story. He just wants what everyone else wants. He wants the American dream. What he has access to is women. What he has that's what he had. Does he have his papers? Does he have his green card? I don't know about that, but I know that he wants to survive like everybody else. So if I can look at that human part of him, I can find some empathy. And that's what we want to find in all of our characters.
And you've collaborated with so many Black directors and creatives, from Jordan Peele to Ava DuVernay, to Nia DaCosta and others. Do you feel like we're at an inflection point with Black excellence in Hollywood? Are we? Is this a new normal? The amount of Black representation that we're seeing. Are we? Or is it just a moment?
I think it is a new normal because I think that we have been demanding.
Yeah.
Demands are being met on highest levels of inclusion, of fairness and fair practices. Now, I think so that's one way I think that we're gaining. Every Black director I know, they're very busy right now. But also, I want to make sure because I feel like sometimes it gets a little backhanded and they start grabbing any Black directors off the street to do things. I think that's not the way to do it either. It's you know what I mean. So I think that there's going to be a balance. I think right now it's a very fruitful time for Black creatives and people wanting to amplify our complex stories. Yes. Will there be more work to do? Absolutely. And I think that, and also that we have to almost. I'm on the in the mind right now, making sure that it's not only the Black creatives and the work that's happening, but also that the audiences are there, and that also people are seeing the work as well. That people are not limiting, the same people that are seeing Power of Dog are also seeing Zola. You know what I mean? Because as we know, people of color, we see everything. Like I remember I brought up this conversation earlier this week where I had a friend who. We're a group of us in Alaska, of all places, and we went to go see a movie together, black, white, whatever. And my friend Michael, who was white, he said, we went to go see Hustle and Flow. And it was one of the only movies that everybody agreed on. We saw it. Afterwards, he said, oh, there's something I would have never seen that movie. I was like, really? Why? And he was like, well, I just don't think it's marketed for me. It's a story for me. And we're like, and my friend Margot, who's from Detroit and the Blackest woman on the planet, she said, well, I went and saw Cold Mountain. That has nothing to do with my experience, but I think it's the way we're groomed about story. Like we have always had to went and saw Charles Dickens and things that had nothing to do with
absolutely
being Black in America. But white folks, we got to catch them up, and I'm talking to all of y'all.
Absolutely.
Because our stories are your stories as well.
Because to go back to the earlier point, there's humanity in all of it.
Absolutely.
In all of it. There's lessons to be learned about humanity in all of it. So I appreciate that. You clearly care about the work of elevating young actors, young thinkers, So is there something you'd like to say to our students? Do you have any insights or advice for young people today?
I'm always telling, this is one thing I will always say to my students, is that no one can tell you not to create.
Mm.
That is a right that you have, and you don't have to wait. When I hear people saying, well, I'm waiting, I need to get this. So if you're looking for something outside of yourself, you're looking in the wrong direction. Because as an artist, as I was coming up, I always believe in investing in myself and writing the thing or producing with what I had, or performing it on stage on a Sunday in a little bar because I got the space for free, or creating a theater company with my friends and producing some work and figuring out how to do it. No one tells you how to do it. You have to figure it out. You have to make mistakes, and that's okay. I always tell my students as well, it's not just about the craft. It's about living a full life. It's about having love in your life, living, falling in love, falling out of love, moving to another location to be afraid of something, living with 5 roommates in a 1 bedroom. You have to take risks. You have to take risks because honestly, those risks are what's going to move you and change you and give you all that stuff that you need to actually do this creative work. You can't just be focused on creative work. You've got to live a life. You've got to be interested in arts and sciences and humanities and politics and art history and all these things, food, cooking, gardening, all the things that I do around the house. I'm in the garden. I'm cooking. I'm reading cookbooks. I'm learning languages. I'm teaching myself to play the flute. All these things that have nothing to do with actually what I'm doing, but it has everything to do with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just being a full human being. So I always tell my students that more than anything. And you follow that, you will have a fullness in your life. You don't want to just put it all on your craftsmanship, because sometimes that may hurt you and that may fail you and that may feel disillusioned and it's not working. But you'll always have something. You always have something that's yours. And while you're seeking the other things. So that's why I say build something that's yours that no one can take away from you. And then the other stuff is just icing on the cake, baby.
Colman, it reminds me so much of something my parents used to say to me always about education. That an education is something no one can ever take away from you. And what you've just described is a kind of rich palette of an education from life, right? I mean, it's just beautiful. I could go on and on.
I could sit with you for hours, and you know that we are overdue to have hours.
We're overdue. But thank you so much, my friend, for making the time today. This makes my heart sing, and I can't wait to share this and you with the world. Really excited.
I adore you, friend. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.